Hey everyone, Gina Graham here, and I'm really happy to have Steve Disselhorst of Steve Disselhorst Coaching and Consulting with us today. He's a new GGBA member, and I can't wait for you to meet him. Steve, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Gina, for having me today. It's really exciting to be certified and to now be a member. I'm really happy to be here today. So thank you.
Oh gosh, my pleasure, and congratulations on the new certification.
Yay!
Yes, that's a big deal. We are standing strong and in mass.
Good. It's awesome.
So let's just kind of get started and bring everyone up to date and learn a little bit more about you. What brings you to the Bay Area?
Well, I've been in the Bay Area for many years. I came in the '90s. I'm originally from the Midwest. I originally moved to the Bay Area to spend a summer with my brother here in Northern California, and that summer turned into a fall, into a winter, into a spring, and another summer. And I've been here for a number of years. And I am currently working as a leadership coach and a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. And my business is based on the peninsula. I live in San Bruno, so I'm in San Mateo County, and work with a lot of the companies here on the peninsula in the biotech and tech sector.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about that. What are the services you provide to your clients, and who is kind of the ideal client for you?
So the services I provide. So as a leadership coach, I work with executives, professionals, teams, and I also work with companies. And the goal of my work is to have a fully integrated personal and professional experience. So, this idea of checking yourself at the door and going into the office is something that I am opposed to. And what my work is really about trying to get people to think about themselves holistically and authentically. And so that's my coaching business. And I work both on short-term goals as well as the bigger picture, long dreams. And then I work with clients to really create an action plan and then hold them accountable. On the diversity inclusion business part of my business consulting part of my business, I work with companies to create more equal representation in leadership ranks, as well as create strategies and programs to create more inclusion in the workplace.
Oh, wow. So this is one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So anyone would like a solo entrepreneur be someone that would be in your target range, or do you prefer to go with bigger clients?
No, I'm working on creating a balanced sort of business. So some corporate clients, but I also like working with independent clients. I think with the independent clients, what I'm realizing is that people are, when they invest in themselves, they're actually more motivated versus in some of our corporate clients, the company's paying for it as part of the development program. The individual is obviously dedicated and motivated, but there's something about when you, as the purchaser of a product, like coaching, when you make the decision to invest, that you're really motivated. And so I have a number of clients that are individuals that have said, hey, I want to work on this and I'm looking for transition. And those, they're exciting. Both are very exciting for different reasons. The corporate stuff I really like because you get to really learn a lot about the work environment and like some of the impediments in the work environment and trying to help people come up with strategies and ways to overcome some of those impediments.
Yeah, totally agree. I do training myself, a slightly different area. And yes, I'm a big believer in that sense of skin in the game. When people there's a little bit of their own skin in the game.
Yeah.
The results tend to come faster and they tend to stick a little more.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And speaking of projects that you do, I saw in your email, you have a new book coming out.
Yes.
Pretending to be a dad.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll just brag on a little bit about, I have a copy here. This is my labor of love for the last year and a half. Determined to be Dad is my journey to become a LGBTQ parent. And it starts with my early years and my denial of my true identity when I thought I was heterosexual and was going to have a family through heterosexual marriage. And then right around the end of my college, when I was just embracing being an independent adult, is really when I came to the realization that I was, in fact, gay, and really had to grapple with that for a while. And it was the early 90s when that happened. And it was really, the time was when the AIDS epidemic was very much problematic for our community. People were trying to survive. They weren't thinking about necessarily creating families. And so I kind of gave up that dream for a bit. And then in the early 2000s, really started to, there was a lot of change in the movement, and really started to see that more and more people were creating families. And that's when I met my husband, and then we really embraced the idea of creating a family together.
So apologies for that. So this embracing the idea of family, this is not something that you just came at alone. This is something that you came with your husband as well.
Yes, yeah, we both wanted to have children, and we were both very much excited about it. But when you're a same-sex couple, men especially, we can't just decide when we're going to have a family and do it. It takes a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of work in order to do it. So it took us, by the time, it was almost 2.5 to 3 years before we adopted our daughter. It really took us a long time from starting the process of decision making to actually going live in the adoption system, and then really then we waited for 2 years before the placement came. So
Wow.
It's a journey. It's a journey.
And now, do you just have the one child?
No, so we have 2 children. We have our oldest is 8 years old, and she came to us through private open adoption, and then our son came to us through the foster adopt program in California.
Wow, that's amazing! Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
What is it like to be a dad?
What's it like to be a dad? It is the hardest job I've ever had in my life. It's the most challenging and most rewarding. And some days, and some days you're not. And it teaches you a lot. And so it's very rewarding. But it's also super challenging. In all honesty, it's a hard thing to do day in and day out. COVID is not making it easier. We used to get breaks, like sending them off to school for whatever 6 to 8 hours, and now we are full force 24/7 parenting, which is really, it's a challenge.
Wow, yes, and that's part of the challenge. When I see friends with kids that are school age, you are now the teacher as well. There, you have to homeschool as well.
Yeah. It's actually back when I first moved to California, I did a stint as a substitute teacher in the public schools in Oakland, and so I have some familiarity with it. But it's been interesting for your own kids, because your own kids don't necessarily listen to you like your teachers normally would. So it's trying to put on the hat in the morning, like saying, "Hey, I'm Mr. D today, and when I ask you to do things, you need to do it," as opposed to, "Hey, you're dad," right? Like, so that's a difference, right?
Oh, I tremendously so. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I think back to when I was a kid, and like all kids, it would have been the mom and dad trying to teach as well, and I think they very much enjoyed the sending me off and handing me off to someone else. So you have my admiration and empathy. How's that? So with your book, I believe you worked with Jen Grace.
Yes.
And her publishing company.
Yes.
Can you just touch on that for a little bit? I know Jen. I've met her through the NGLCC. She's an amazing woman, and I love what she's doing with her publishing company. And I just wondered if you had a few about your experience there.
Yeah, actually, I just talked to Jen before this call, just as we're getting close. The publish date for my book is June 16th, so I'm just about 5 weeks out. So we had a brief conversation today. I will just say that I came to Jen Grace through Jennifer Brown Consulting, who's now a very dear friend and a member of the community, and is really a strong advocate in the community. And she introduced me to Publisher Purpose Press. And I went through a discernment process around how I wanted to get my story out into the world. I had thought about self-publishing, thought about going to a big publishing house, but Jen Grace and Publisher Purpose Press really, they provided me with what I needed. So I wanted my book to not take 3 to 5 years. I wanted to own the story and not have the story changed too much by editors or outside interests. I really wanted to own the story, and Jen believes in her author stories, and while they provide incredible resources from an editing and publishing perspective, they also really allow the voice of the author to come through. So my experience with Jen and her team has been phenomenal, and I'm also very grateful to be supporting a LGBTQ business. So and really getting authors like myself, queer LGBTQ authors, out publishing their stories so that we can share with the world how we've experienced the world from our perspective. So I'm very grateful to Jen and Nikki and Karen and all those from her team.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to work with them again. I touched on there for myself a couple of about 2 years ago, and I'm looking to circle back. And I'm so thrilled and motivated when I hear your story.
Yeah. And you and I talked a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Well, I'm all here to give encouragement. I love
absolutely.
getting
So we have a June 16th date. And where will this book be available? What can we put underneath this video where people can go?
Yeah, so the book will be available through all online retailers, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, IndieBound, as well as Books A Million. It will also be available. I'm actually going to be, because of the coronavirus, I'm going to actually be selling books directly. So if folks want a signed copy, I'm going to be putting up a website where people can buy directly from me as well. As things start to change with shelter in place, we'll be able to see maybe some, I'd like to do actually an in-person launch, but right now the plan is really to do a virtual launch.
Okay.
As things are unfolding slowly, and it's unclear around that. So the plan right now is for a virtual launch, but I'm hopeful that things will loosen up and we'll be able to actually do a live event. I want to really love being around people. I want to bring people in. I want to share my story, and I want to connect with people about how it intersects with their own lives.
Excellent. That sounds fantastic. So as we kind of wrap this up, what's kind of the lasting message that you would want members to know, to keep you in mind when they think of you? What would you like to say? What would you like them to remember?
Yeah. So the thing that I would say is that, I'm an out gay, proud man, cisgender man that has been a part of the community since the 90s. I'm very active right now. I sit on the board of directors for Our Family Coalition, which works for equity for LGBTQ families. I live in San Mateo County, and I'm really honored that I was selected to be a LGBTQ commissioner for San Mateo County. I also have been working as an Equality California fellow, leadership fellow, which took place last year. And I'm just very active in the community and supporting LGBTQ businesses, but also supporting LGBTQ people that are working in any business, so that our voices are heard and that people can live out proud lives of who they truly are.
That is amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today and having a chat. And just one more time, can we hold the book up one more time?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so it's Determined to Be Dad. You can follow me on Facebook at Determined to Be Dad. You can also check out the website, which is determinedtobedad.com. You can sign up for my newsletter, and you'll be able to find out when you'll be able to get your hands on the book. So thank you, Gina, so much for having me today.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you soon.
All right, take care. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.